It's now 7:04. Thursday, June 20th meeting here at Council Chambers. I'm going to be the acting chairman, Bruno Maini, for Mike O'Reilly tonight, who's not here. So we good to go? Everyone ready?
Let the record show we're going to seat Nicole.
We will seat Nicole for Mike O'Reilly for tonight. But we don't generally do that early, do we? Wow, that's cute. That's a new version. I haven't seen that.
Oh, it's zoomed in a little.
Wow. I have a remote.
Camera definitely adds 10 pounds to me for sure. My Lord. We good to go? All right, let's go. Pledge allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's call the roll. Start to my right.
Brian Cotton. Here.
Leanna Ambrosi, Commissioner.
Robert Westland.
Has it been that long that we?
Nicole Lupo, alternate commissioner.
Kathleen Gallagher, Planning and Zoning Administrator.
We have anybody? Nope. So we're good. All right. General public participation. This part of the meeting is if there's anybody in the public, either on Zoom or through here live, if they have any questions or concerns about anything that is not on our agenda tonight. We'll start with online. Nope. In the audience? Nope.
2:05, we'll have a public portion later.
So we're good. Let's go to our first public hearing. Ryan, do you have
I do.
have the goods about it?
Planning and zoning, regular meeting, Monroe, Connecticut, notice of public hearing to be held June 20th. In accordance with CGS 8-7D, a public hearing will be held on Thursday, June 20th at 7 PM or soon thereafter via hybrid Zoom meeting and in-person attendees located at Monroe Town Hall, Council Chambers, SCP 2018-03A4, file 1598A, 205 Monroe Turnpike, permit approval, amendment modification application for proposed construction of a 19,356 square foot self-storage building at the rear portion of the property with 118 parking spaces and 3 designated loading spaces located at 205 Monroe Turnpike, assessor map 006, lot 10/00. 205 Monroe Turnpike LLC owner, solely engineering LLC representative. Notice was published on the Connecticut Post on June 8th and in Voices on June 12th.
Connecticut Post. We got
Spending that money.
fancy.
It's your coffee budget.
Who do we got?
Can you swap to?
Good evening, members of the commission. Normally you see Matt Baldino or Kevin. I'm stepping in for that tonight. So my name is Luke Monroe. I am a senior project manager with Civil Engineering office at 501 Main Street in Monroe, Connecticut. And I'm here tonight on behalf of the applicant, who is 205 Monroe Turnpike LLC for a proposed self-storage use at Town Line Plaza, 205 Monroe Turnpike. Okay, so just get everybody oriented here. I'm pretty sure everyone knows the site in question, but property's 205 Monroe Turnpike. It's just north of the Toronto Town Line 111. Property itself in the rear total 7 acres, as you can see in the property out right here. It's bound by residential uses along the back of Spring Hill Road and a variety of commercial uses down the Turnpike. So existing conditions, this is a relatively new area. Just so everyone's sure what we're talking about. So you know the gas station over here in the front, which is a separate parcel. The newly constructed Panera from a couple of years ago. We're here on the right on the east side, and you can see the LD kind of foundation LD is for construction now, along with this parking lot anywhere. Shared access between all these buildings, with a signalized driveway, turn. One other thing to note, there are approximately 0.18 acres of wetlands located on site, as you can see with this, wooded dark area over here, and also southwest corner. I should note that it is under review by the Wetlands Commission, and I believe we would anticipate approval as next one. I think it's
Next Wednesday.
The dates are right.
Yes, the 26th.
All right, so the site plan or the PAM before you tonight is for a 99,336 square foot 4-story self-storage facility. That's over 4 levels, so each level is about 24,000 square feet or so is the footprint of the building. 2 loading spaces under partial cover, as you can see, this little knockout in the building over here in the front. And there's also 21 parking spaces associated specifically for this self-storage use. The 118 parking spaces referenced in the notice for the entire lot, including the alley. And there is approximately 0.94 acres of upland review area on the site. So I'm just going to take everybody through a quick comparison. What was previously approved under the last PAM. Everyone's aware we've gone kind of on step by step for Panera. And then Aldi, when Aldi was approved, there was a 10,000 square foot medical office building in the back here. Since that time, the site has been rezoned to SDD, Special Development District number 6, which would allow for self-storage use in the rear there. So this is the PAM site plan approval that would essentially memorialize us to move forward with construction documents and construction for this project. It's just a quick comparison. As you see in red here, this is the former building footprint over here, this rectangle up in the corner. You can see, although our new building footprint is larger, a little more than twice the size or so, our actual impervious coverage is reduced and our developed footprint, if you will, is reduced by about 0.1 acres overall compared to the previous. And again, this is another zoom in so you can see a little bit better oriented sideways here. But former approved medical office building at 10,000 square feet. This is our new 24,000 square foot self-storage use, and then previous limits pavement over here in red, and the new limits pavement. Essentially end here, this is just like a reinforced emergency access pass, and see general grass all the inside here. Okay, walking through grading and drainage quickly, similar to the old site plan that was approved for the development. The roof areas and the parking lot areas will be collected via underground stormwater management system, piped to a underground detention system to retain flows to match pre-existing conditions. All the runoff from the pavement will be treated by a hydrodynamic separator to improve that water quality volume before it ultimately discharges to the wetlands pocket over here, kind of in the middle of the site. There is a slope on the rear of the facility in order to avoid a retaining wall. Slope grades to a vegetated swale for like natural stormwater quality measure back here. And eventually the swale discharges to this small triangular wetland pocket on the southwest corner of the property. So in addition to that hydrodynamic separator for improved stormwater quality, catch basins will be fitted with 2-foot sumps and hooded outlets as well to keep settleable solids and flowables out of that wetland downstream there. Designs in accordance with all applicable local and state stormwater management regulations. Like I said, all runoff and all events will be matched or reduced in post versus pre conditions. And the intent of the design is basically to mimic existing drainage conditions to the greatest extent practical. As far as soil erosion and sediment control goes, the site is already disturbed. As you're probably aware, there's earthwork, earth moving activities associated with the alley. We've been kind of leveling off this pad and preparation for the future self-storage user in the back here. So In addition, once Aldi is kind of squared away with their construction, there'll be a new construction entrance established only to the rear here outside the pavement limits, so as to not interfere with any of the customers utilizing Aldi for the grocery shopping. We'll leave the inlet protection, the catch basins in place throughout construction, make sure no sediments getting to the stormwater management system. And there is also a perimeter silt vegetative backing along the bottom of toe slopes and protect the wetlands, as you can see right now. In terms of utilities, site is serviced by public utilities except for septic. So gas, water, and electric, they're all on site to the main drive aisle now. They're going to be extended as they were for Aldi, but they'll be further extended up the main drive aisle to the rear to service this building. A small septic system, I think it's about 175 gallons or so estimated flow per day. That'll be reviewed and approved by the Monroe Health Department.
How many bathrooms do you have in this thing?
Just a handful. I think there's only a couple.
No, you just repeat one or two. Huh?
So there's actually no latent restroom on the floor plan.
There's what?
There's no latent restrooms on the floor plan. So we can try to get a solid answer for you in case it's hearing open as we get through the process. But I believe it's just for offices only, not for people that are utilizing self-storage. So it's very small.
Are you gonna have a restroom in there?
I'm sure they'll be required to per code. I'm not sure it needs to be open to the public.
Right, but I'm assuming you're gonna have an employee.
Correct.
No,
So there's none labeled.
There's we'll have to, it's not depicted, and I can get to the floor plans, but I imagine it's envisioned to be within the office space.
Okay.
There's been no offices or anything kind of blocked out except for rectangular area for the office space.
Well, the hearing's staying open,
Sure,
so
yep, yep.
eventually you're gonna need to
Yep, we'll get an answer for you.
notate that.
No problem.
Thank you.
In terms of landscaping, so all disturbed areas and slopes will be reseeded to reestablish lawn vegetation along the perimeter of the site here. There'll be a mix of trees and shrubs throughout the parking area and 10 to 12 foot high evergreen plantings for screening along the residential areas to the north and to the west of the property. Over here, our goal is always to try to obtain count of about 80% native species as the basis of our design. Drought resistant as well. There's also a number of wetlands related mitigation plantings and upland buffer over here and down the corner as well. Overall, we believe that the wetlands buffer plantings and the landscaping and stormwater management measures proposed, there should be an overall increase in improvement in the quality of the stormwater reading site. As far as lighting goes, there's just a few building mounted wall packs over here on the front facade of the building. No new site lighting poles are proposed over what's going to be installed for the alley development. So all the lighting that's parked here will be taken care of by wall mounted light packs up to 16 feet above grade. There are no proposed building mounted lights on the south, west, or north facade of the building, so we can control the spill off and limit any impacts to abutting neighbors. As far as the elevations go, this was reviewed by ARB on May 14th. It's fairly simple design. It's a mix of gray tones, corrugated metal color scheme along the front with some glass storefronts for the main office over here. This is sunken loading area I was describing earlier, and then some glass window storefronts over here on the middle of the building above the loading area. And so also some glass storefront as an accent on the south facade of the building. There are no proposed windows facing the residential neighbors to the north or the west side of the property. In terms of floor plans, this is what I was referring to before. As you can see, there is this area designated as office space, however, it hasn't been broken out into conference rooms, desks, what I would imagine where the restroom would be as well. So we'll make sure we get a solid answer for you on the restroom location. But the remaining of the building, as you can see, perimeter and interior storage units, about 675 total storage units in various sizes.
Damn.
Overall height, 45 feet. That is to the top, back here, to the top of the decorative parapet at the building, which is about 3 to 4 feet higher than the roof in order to screen any mechanicals that may be up there. There is also 2 stairwells located, one on the north side, one on the south side of the building in the office, and then also 2 elevators centrally located within the building itself as well. With that, I'm just gonna go over a few comments that we received from Kathleen, and we're gonna be providing some revised plans in response to comments for review. Keep this hearing open for now. But just to go through some of the items that we received. From James, he wanted to see turning movement template plan. I believe that's been reviewed by the fire marshal's office. However, he wanted to see one as well, so we'll submit fire truck moving template for him to verify the trucks can safely traverse the site and get in and out off the road. There was a recommendation, go back to on the south side of the building here for a mountable curb over here rather than no curbing at all. So we revised the plans to provide mountable curb to stop some stormwater runoff kind of traversing down the south side of the building over here. Let's see. In terms of Kathleen, you had a question or comment about where the mounting heights of the building lead light fixtures. They are 16 feet above grade, basically to match the first floor elevation, top of the first floor of the building. Trash, no trash, no dumpster enclosure in a typical sense associated with this building based on feedback we're getting from the contractor. They typically just have 2 roll-out bins that they use. The likely store in the rear of the loading area here, but it's a typical garbage and recycling bin like you have at your house. You just roll out to the street at times to pick up. Let's see, signage noted that there's not been a tenant identified, so once there is, we'll come back for signage permit for their tenants signage on the building. In terms of pedestrian walkways along the front of the building, there is a 4-foot wide sidewalk adjacent to the 4 spaces here and the 7 spaces here. There's concern that the vehicle overhang may block the sidewalk, so we're going to modify our plan to provide curb stops over here so that setback far enough so that there's no overhang to block the pedestrians from being able to walk around that side. Let's see. In terms of snow storage, there was concern. We showed kind of oversized snow storage area over here. We'll make sure that's modified in the plan to show that it won't have any impacts on the proposed evergreen buffer plantings along the top of the site over here. And then another comment I believe came in about the concern of the building height and the neighbors in close proximity on the north side. So I'm told we're submitting a revised lighting plan with some more profound, if you will, more beefed up screening of the evergreens over here to provide additional buffer from the building since it is larger than was previously approved for the property. That should be coming to the town in the next few days. Other than that, I think that pretty much sums up the presentation. I'll note the question about the restrooms, and if there's anything else you the public have, be happy to hear.
I'm going to read the exhibits into the record. Application and plan set by Solely Engineering received May 6, 2024. Adjacent municipality referral notice by Kathleen Gallagher dated May 9th, 2024. Architecture Review Board letter with a positive recommendation dated May 14th, 2024. Police chief comments dated May 15th, 2024. EMS comments dated May 16th, 2024. Planning and zoning administrator report dated June 12th, 2024. And the fire department comments dated 6/13/2024. And I would like to go through some of those briefly. As was mentioned, the Architecture Review Board received and reviewed the plans. On May 14th, they found it to be consistent with good architectural character for the town of Monroe and compatible with its site and adjoining buildings, and they had no additional comments for the drawings to be revised. The police department, Chief Keith White had a chance to review. His comments included that the change from a medical facility to a self-storage facility would have minimal effect on the police department. I believe having some sort of ambient lighting in the parking lot at night would provide low-level security at the electric vehicle charging stations and would deter loitering after hours. So we're balancing kind of the issue between making sure the lights aren't being a nuisance to the neighbors, but also making sure we have enough lighting that the parking lot is safe in the evening.
Makes sense.
EMS comments, as discussed in this is a letter addressed to me, as discussed in our meeting regarding the proposed building of the storage facility. I would like to ensure that the elevators will be large enough to hold our stretchers in case of an emergency. The dimension of the stretchers are 23 inches by 81 inches long. Additionally, one, but preferably two emergency personnel should be able to fit in the elevator. I would also like to ensure that the hallways are wide enough for the stretchers to go around the corners at the end of the building. Otherwise, I have no concerns with this project and its impact on EMS. If you guys could just take a look at that, only because elevators are the main way to get from floor to floor, especially to the basement. There is now no door to the exterior in the basement. So the only way to get to it is through the first floor. The fire department comments in an email addressed to me in further review of the aforementioned project, changing from an office medical building to a self-storage facility will allow the fire department greater access, as this type of building will not be as populated. Fire department apparatus approach and the ease of access will be enhanced with a lower amount of occupants at any given time. Currently, I see no outstanding items to hold this project from proceeding forward. Most of my comments were reviewed. The only history I would just like to point out is not only was this approved for a medical office facility in the past, this also came in front of the commission for an SDD, a special development district number 6. At that time, you saw conceptual plans of what this was going to look like. I just want to point out that there are a couple minor changes that have happened since that, which includes that originally there was a truck driveway access to a door on the lower level on the south side. There was a grade change of 1 floor at that time. So the facade of that corner of the building was greater than what is there now, and there was also additional impervious surface. Since then, the door to the basement from the outside has been completely removed. The basement's now completely underground. The fire department emergency services have all looked at that. It's kind of what prompted some of their comments. They take no exception to there being access. We've also talked to the building department, and they believe that there's a way with the building code that will be permitted. And they'll get more into those details once they actually have a building department submission. What they are doing on that south side is instead of having pavement, they're doing like the block grids that have some grass or some other vegetation that goes in between that. And again, all of that has been reviewed with the fire department, and they take no exception to the way that is being proposed. Although that is a change, to be honest, it's actually reducing the facade that is being exposed to that area. There's already grade that kind of really helps that area, but it's still always nice to have a a building of this height, not be 4 stories, in that location. And it's actually only really 3 exposed, stories at that time. But that was really, in my opinion, the major, change that occurred. There was also, I think, a dumpster in the conceptual plans as well that has, been removed, and they actually added the sidewalk that's located in the front of the building for better pedestrian circulation. So the majority of the changes that we see, I actually think are in benefit, to the overall project. We've already talked about trash and signage and some of the pedestrian, walkways. Again, the concern, and it sounds like it's going to be addressed, is now that the building is larger, I've been on site, staff has been on site in general because we're checking in on the Aldi construction, and to the south and to the, west, you can't really see the residential buildings, but when you go to the north, like you can see like their backyards, you can see the toys that their kids play with, you can see all of those things. So I just want to make sure, obviously they live next to, a limited office retail district, but I do want to make sure we're taking, all appropriate measures to screen as much as possible.
Sure.
In the area that they do have. And that concludes my comments.
Well done. We'll take questions from the public. Is there anybody, I can't see anybody online, but is there anybody online that has a question?
At the moment, nobody is raised.
Anybody here in the public? Come on up, name and address for the record, please.
Robert Zumbo, Spring Hill Road, Monroe. Please. I'll explain, I am right where the building is going to go, I am the first house on the right. So it did answer most of my questions, but I just want to make sure. So we did talk about the number of stories in the building, it's 4, but will there really be?
So you're gonna have to, I don't mean to be rude, but you have to address us. You don't address them.
Can this go down? By any chance?
At the very least, you can move the microphone, yeah.
Okay. All right, sorry.
No worries.
On the list.
Just address us, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
Robert Zumbo, Spring Hill Road, Monroe, second house on the right. I'm also here talking for my neighbor who's actually on reserve duty today, so we can't make.
Okay.
So I understand the number of stories in the building is going to be 4, but is it really are you really gonna see 4? Is 1 underground? Is it really gonna be like, okay, it's 3, it doesn't look like 4 kind of deal?
It's 3 in the front, 4 in the back. It's,
It was 3 in the front, 4 in the back, but they've actually now buried the entire basement based on the new plan. So you'll see that there's a grade change. There's a pretty significant grade change because it's meeting existing grade, but you won't be able to see that basement story. At one point, you were going to be able to it on the southwestern side, and they've raised that grade since then.
Got it, okay. Picture right. Okay, that's good. My second question was, is this thing going to be open 24 hours a day? Is there going to be some limit? Because I don't want people coming in my backyard at 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, because right now, I can hear the people at the gas station at night, I can hear them talking with the radios playing, I can hear everything. So I'm really concerned about people going back there, being in front of our property or back of our property at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, so. Is there a time limit on being able to limit this thing?
generally there is, yes.
You don't know what that is yet, though?
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's an important
For sure.
question. The next question was, building lights shining into the backyards. From what he said, I don't think that's the case here, but I'm hoping they shine down.
Yeah, everything's dark sky compliant, so everything does shoot down.
All right, security cameras. Is there going to be security cameras in here filming us in our backyard here?
We can find out.
Okay, how am I going to get an answer on that? Is it?
Well, the meeting's going to be open, not everything, it's not closing today.
Okay,
So there is going to be another public hearing that you can attend and hopefully at that point we could have more answers.
gotcha. Windows facing our backyards. I think he answered that.
Also, I apologize. He's also listening to your questions and he could also answer them when you're done.
Oh, okay. So windows are facing our backyard, what he said. For, so there won't be I heard that, so that was a question I was gonna ask. And the 118 parking places was answered last week, so okay. The one other question that I have, I'm really concerned about is, he talks about evergreen trees going alongside. When they first did the lot for Aldi's, the evergreen trees were nice, there was 3 of them, and that didn't do anything. In fact, my property it went out and then it went down. So when they planted the 3 evergreen trees, all we saw was a foot on the top, which blocked nothing. So Fred came over to my house, one of the owners, and he said, yeah, I see what you're saying. I totally agree with you. He went back and talked to Mike and the other owner, and they came back and they put 15 arborvitae trees behind my house, going from the left to the right. Now, that's great. I thank you for it. I said, this is good. It's not gonna stop the world, but they really were trying. They're expensive trees and all that. They left off about, I'm gonna say about 20 feet from my property line. As you're facing it, my property line to the left, they left off about 20 feet. And then going to my neighbor's property line. He keeps talking about evergreen trees, but Mike told me last week when he was here that they're going to, once they're done with this, they're going to extend those arborvitae trees all the way down to the corner of my neighbor's property. So that's one important thing I want to make sure that.
So if they're gonna do something on your property, that's nothing that we can hold them to? If they're gonna do something on this
No,
property, then we can,
I'm sorry, to interrupt you. They did it on their property for
Okay.
us.
okay,
So they said, okay, we see a problem. He did 3/4 of my lot to the left, about 20 feet before my neighbor's property, and he stopped there. I guess that's where the break is right now. But Mike told me last week, he goes, we're gonna continue that. I like to hear the words arborvitae, not evergreen, but I'd like to make sure that it gets recorded and that does happen. So it sounds like he was gonna do it, but I just don't want to lose it.
Just for clarification, that is your preference, is to continue what they've already did, just going
Yes.
down? Okay,
Yes.
and then complementing that around. Okay.
Because he brought the landscaper with him and he said arborvitae are the best trees and they grow as a kind of.
a foot a year or something, yeah.
Yes, beautifully. I was expecting 8, they gave us 15, but they stopped at the corner. And the corner is, when you're standing at the back of my house, corner is what I'm gonna be looking at. That's it.
Awesome.
All right,
Thank you so much.
that's all right. Thanks a lot.
Not my favorite, but I will make an exception for this
So
gentleman.
I was preeminently told we're gonna be replacing the arborvitae trees,
Okay.
I think because of the request. So, just to answer, I'll bring my pretty picture here because it's easier to see. So, I believe what the gentleman was referring to was, the trees stop right out here, right now, as they're continuing their grading, operations in the back, but that line of arborvitae's, which we will be submitting a revised landscaping plan for, will continue, essentially all the way around the north property line, wrapping all the way around, along the western property line. To, basically toward the extension of the building. So, I believe the residential zone ends with the arborvitae's, are intended to stop.
Excellent.
And I believe they are stacked at 10 to 12 feet at the time of planting. Kathleen can probably speak better than I can, but they generally grow 1 to 2 feet per year and they'll fill in, so. So comment noted, and that is the intent. I will, let me just jot a note here, but I will get into security cameras for the next meeting. I would assume they would intend to put security cameras up. But if there's any inclination as to where they may be mounted or something.
Yeah, you could also get an hours of operation. I'm assuming there's gonna be some sort of entry access
Yeah, most likely it'll be a
keypad of some sort.
keypad, I would assume.
So if you could find-
That will be some valuables in there, so yes, yeah, but we can get answers on some security concerns.
Yeah, just see if there's 24-hour access to the facility. I'm assuming you could loop around the building, so I don't know if they're gonna put up some sort of gates to kind of deter someone.
I think originally there were gates proposed along the south side. I think it was requested from the fire marshal. That they be removed for safety purposes, so we can get to that south side of the building just in case. But the amount of level surface along the sides of the building. It's pretty kind of here. As you can see, all these lines here, the slope basically starts right at the back of the building, so it would be too steep for vehicular access. So, although a pedestrian may be able to walk around the back and hug the building, vehicular access on that west side wouldn't be practical.
Okay.
So, and just to reiterate or restate some of the questions, concerns again, no windows facing the residential properties on the north side, or the west side, which should, comedy fears of light trespass. And then, the lighting themselves will be downlit fixtures, 16 feet mounted above grade. And I think since we're down, in a hole here, we're really low. I don't think you'd even be able to see other lights there from where they are, where their house elevation is.
Excellent. Any other questions from the public? Nope.
I'm sorry, I think I came late, had
Why
nothing.
don't you come on up?
Oh, it's nothing to do with this application.
Oh, it's not with this application?
No,
You'll have to wait. I'm sorry. We'll get to you though.
I was hoping to get to the public participation, I must have missed that.
You missed it. I'm sorry, but
Well,
we'll, since we're,
We can vote to add it to the end of the agenda.
yeah, we'll let you talk later.
we'll get it in. Don't worry.
Okay.
Don't you worry. Let's go to the commission. Ryan? Questions? Ryan?
Well, so you said you don't have a actual tenant yet, right? So it could be a different.
I will say, if there is, we are unaware, solely is unaware. If there's
Actual tenant, all right, yeah, because I just kind of had questions with the big windows, you get some of those storage facilities where
Yeah.
you keep them lit up.
Sure.
24 hours,
The
is that-
intent is not like U-Haul where you can see every single orange door,
Yeah.
just a little bit in the front and the side, trying to respect people's privacy. Yes, yeah.
All right, yeah, that was it.
You have any renderings of this building from street view?
I do not. We just have flat. I don't think you're gonna be able to see much from the street.
Like a rendering from the street?
I know why he's asking that, because we've asked for that in the past. And someone told us they were gonna get us pictures from kind of like Panera looking at it. And we never got them,
Up from the 111,
which is where Panera.
where Panera is.
Well, you're also gonna have O'Reilly, we're gonna have O'Reilly's there too.
Well, if he just gets it from that driveway where the Panera is, that kind of gives you.
And what's the front? Can you blow up just the front of the building?
Want to blow it up, dude?
Also, I can see it.
Oh. You say that's kind of rude.
Any planting or landscape in front of the buildings?
No planting or landscaping proposed because in order to accommodate the required setbacks on the west side of the building and the limits of the Aldi parking lot, there's literally no more space left to kind of fit anything else in there and provide 4-foot wide sidewalks. We're pretty much pinched for space. There's sidewalks adjacent to the building itself. I can show you the plan.
What about some raised beds?
Then we would have to sacrifice the sidewalks.
We're gonna have to spruce that building up a little bit better in the front then.
Are there plantings in front of Aldi?
No, it's just sidewalk.
Let's see, but
Same sidewalk there, and Panera only has one surrounding patio. There's also no planting beds in front of the building there. But I'm trying to zoom in for you here.
You sure about that? I think there's plants in front of that rock wall, in front of Noble.
yeah,
I thought you meant adjacent to the storefront lot, if that was the question. There is a large planted island. There's a large, well, struggling to zoom here. So there is a large planted island, kind of an I-shaped island over here. That's like 8 to 10 feet wide. That'll bring up the parking lot, kind of differentiating between alley and the self-storage. You see here, there's, as you can see, so we have the island, we have parking stall, minimum width of the drive aisle that's required. Then we have parking stall, 4-foot sidewalk, building, and then the building setback side. So the only way I would say that you could put landscaping adjacent to the building is to reduce that I-shaped island. But there is, because we remove this access here, we are proposing plantings along this whole facade here, wrapped up to the point where pavement stops. So there is.
Those are trees. The trees, the
Yeah, there is
circles are there,
trees.
the trees. What are
The
those?
large circles are trees. Yep, 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, so there's 5.
4, 5. Yeah, there's not, sorry, I interpreted the question as directly up against the building. There's not, but there isn't anywhere else on site. There's no landscape.
Yeah, back of the building. You know, the island that's separated.
So I guess if we could get what the rendering would look like if you're standing in front of Aldi looking at it, where the plants in the parking lot are there. And
Well, no, I want it from 111. I want to see.
and one from 111.
But you're saying from the Aldi parking lot, so they can show the planting that's in that separation island?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to be,
I
clear.
think when you're that couple 150 feet, 200 foot back, it's probably gonna look like the plantings are up adjacent to the building. Because it's gonna be fairly robust, but we can pull some.
You're pulling in there to drop off your storage stuff in a unit. Do you really care if you see plants? I get it. If you're coming out of Aldi and you look at the building, it should look nice, but
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's gonna have to look nicer than it is. I mean,
I
put
think it
the,
will with those trees.
put the building back up for me. The front of it.
You're not gonna see kind of the left and that corner door area is probably gonna be blocked by the trees.
Yeah, this view is taken assuming there's nothing blocking the facade, though. It's just so you can see what the material. Sorry. But we can pull together a rendering showing what those,
Yeah, I want the building to look a little bit more colonial or something up there. I mean, it's just like look like a plain building with windows in it, no? Is that all? Just one?
I mean, three different color gray tone with another.
No, I understand that, but is it just all one? Is it jogged in or out? No, it's not.
I think there is just.
It looks like
It doesn't look like you do. No,
This is the basement home.
the footprint don't look like you have jogs in there.
Yeah, it's all, I mean, it's also depicted as flat. I will get confirmation when I see it. Wow. It is generally rectangular. With some.
I don't want it to look like a square building that has no kind of colonial aspect to it at all. You know, I mean, it's not gonna look that way.
Sure, understood. You know, it was.
That's why I want to see the rendering of it. I want to see the rendering from all these and I want to see it from 111.
Any other questions about?
No, he hasn't have, you don't have any hours of operation on this?
No, he said he's gonna get that.
They don't have the distance here.
No, I know, but we're the ones that have to do
Yeah,
it,
we
two of the
pick it,
things, so we have
We'll
to.
come prepared to respond to that question.
Don't come to prepared to respond to that?
Yeah, we have to leave it open because we haven't closed out.
No, I understand that. So, guess that's all I got for now. Oh, and then, the width of you're gonna take care of all the EMS comments?
In return to that, well, we could provide.
You're gonna bring that back to us and make sure there's enough width and everything like that in the building for the.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We could put figure together.
Um, The same thing with the security cameras, you're gonna bring something back to us on that, right? Okay. And I think that we're gonna need to see a good landscape plan. Because you're gonna add stuff to it, right?
Yes, we'll be seeing our lives on the state.
That's all I need.
Rob? All right, well, I'd also like to see more beautification effort. Maybe some jogs, some stacked stone, some more character to the building, so it doesn't look like Leon said, so boxy. And also, when you're doing the renderings, if there's possible to get a rendering from the nearest neighbor, what they're actually going to see when it's all set. So we can get an idea of how the screening is going to look and how much it's going to block and everything else. Where is the, I know it's going to have a small septic system, but where's the reserve going to be for that?
I believe it's directly in front of it. So this small rectangle to the left is observed.
And it's gonna be gravity fed?
Yep, it'll be reviewed and, I believe Amy's seen this preliminarily, so that's where it's coming from.
Is the building gonna be manned during the day?
I believe there'll be some, yes.
So it changes depending on what tenant you have and that type.
Correct, correct.
And just out of, curiosity, provided the self-storage market becomes oversaturated, we're seeing these popping up everywhere, and no matter how many we approve, more of them come in front of us. Is it possible from a build perspective for this particular building to be repurposed in the future?
I would say it would be difficult to do that because it's not fit for utility demand. The septic, you can't get much smaller septic system.
Right.
And it would require massive, utility redesign, reconstruction. The loading of the floors need to be looked at. I would say, while possible, very unlikely that happen.
Okay, that's all I have.
Cool.
No questions.
I'm pretty good too, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he said he's gonna work on that now.
No, we didn't ask him about that.
Well, I mean, he said, okay, so I'm not overly in love with the colors, if you want my honest opinion, but you did say you were gonna work on that stuff, so I was gonna kind of.
I think earth tones are probably the.
Yeah, but it's just like a dark gray, like, I don't know. I mean, listen, I'm one person, but if you're gonna,
I don't think we have a say in colors on buildings.
Sure we do.
no, we don't. I don't think we do. No, we don't, because noble gas
Yeah.
got the green.
I mean, we could say, hey, we don't like it, but we can't disapprove something on a basis of we don't like the color.
This is.
I could be wrong, but I
He
don't.
could, yeah, but they could, if they're gonna redesign it, maybe there's some new colors that they could add that, if you can add different colors maybe that are not, that don't financially impact the project.
However, just for the board's consideration, if you're also concerned about the impact to neighbors and things of that nature, you do want something that's going to kind of blend in and fade into the background, and a gray, especially in the winter, is going to kind of blend into other trees and whatnot.
Under this, can't we choose the colors that we want? Or
I don't think you can choose. I don't think you.
even under.
Nobody want you
under
choosing
the
colors?
spec- On the special.
Who the heck wants Leon
Under
choosing
the
colors?
special development, we don't have anything to, with that. Under this specific. I'm not saying now.
Yeah, no, I get what you're talking about, but maybe the SDB maybe?
I mean, you can,
I'm not sure our parking lot.
I'll look into what your capabilities.
Yeah, I'm almost certain that this has come up in the past.
Yeah, I don't think we could choose colors, but I'm just asking if there's something
I got it.
maybe they can do to break it up a little bit. That's it for now. My other questions, let's wait until, because it's not really earth shattering stuff, so we'll wait. I actually kind of do like the island that separates the parking lot from Aldi's. I think that's actually a pretty good idea.
And there's fence, it's fenced in.
Right. So with the screening on the back side of the building. Is that the west side?
West here.
Okay. Let's talk about west.
Yep.
There's nothing on the other side of that building, right? There's not a house, there's not is it woodlands?
It is zoned, for residential, but the house, Spring Hill kind of runs up this way, so the houses are kind of off the street.
But I'm talking about the west side.
On the west, no, so northwest, there's a house.
There's a house, but
Yes,
that's,
it's a large swath of vegetated area, so.
okay, so I was gonna say if they could put, but you don't need to, but if there was a house there, I would recommend maybe putting a fence in to kind of keep people from not coming in from that side. But if there's nobody really there, then it doesn't really make sense.
So it's,
Oh, so there, and then maybe that one to the left. A little bit. Yeah, yeah.
There's also some more, and it's more, I guess, to the south, but there's grade change that goes up that just naturally also screens some of this as well.
Okay.
yeah, This house, for argument's sake, 15 to 20 feet higher.
Oh.
Finished floor than our finished floor. So they are kind of starting 20 feet above the building. So with those plantings.
Mechanicals, you said they're gonna all be on the roof?
I believe that's the intent. There hasn't been a detailed redesign, but I believe.
You find that out?
Sure.
Because that would be nice. Since you're adding parapet walls, I just assumed you would have all your mechanicals on the roof. I don't have any other questions. Kathleen, you got anything? We're good for now?
Just for the record, this is being continued to the July 18th meeting.
You guys just, yep, you gonna be, is that good for you? July 18th?
Yeah, we'll be here. Yep, someone will be here.
All right. Have a nice day. July 18th, we will talk again. Oh. There's nothing for deliberations and determinations, correct, Kathleen?
Correct.
Let's talk about new applications. Kathleen, you want to run us through Pepper Street?
We have two items. 588 Pepper Street is a proposed 16,000 square foot industrial warehouse. This was the address that came in front of you last year for the sorting and handling facility. However, they were removing the sorting and handling portion of the scope.
Is this the AV mechanical one?
And they're coming in. I wasn't here for that, so I'm kind of piecing a little bit of this stuff together. But they are coming in for just a straight warehouse use. So they're removing.
Oh, this was like some sort of like shipping or?
Yeah,
Pepper.
the sorting and handling.
Yeah, it was like a UPS-esque.
Correct. They're
Okay.
removing that part of the use and they're coming in
This is not Grosso or AV mechanical?
for just a straight warehouse facility.
Okay.
That will be on for a public hearing for August 1st.
August 1st.
We only have one meeting in July, one meeting in August. The July meeting is July 18th, August meeting is August 1st. And then, although this is noted as 64 Cambridge, they're really just the applicant. It's really just a text amendment change for the excavation and filling section of the zoning regs that removes the waiver option that was discussed thoroughly during the 64 Cambridge application. So that is on for a public hearing for July 18th.
Beautiful. Is that like not in front of the subcommittee? We're gonna change the regulation.
They did come, so only two people were in front of subcommittee at the last meeting. And this was brought in front of subcommittee at the last meeting. And so it was generally reviewed and it's just really a change to make our zoning regulations in compliance with what we can and cannot do from a waiver perspective. So I haven't had a chance to thoroughly review it, but it's not for a specific project. It's really just to bring the regulations into compliance, but we did have a subcommittee meeting.
This was after the judge's ruling, right? So we're basically just making it legal.
Excellent. Meeting minutes? I only have,
Correct. You already approved the 418, so we apologize if that's on there. You only have two meeting minutes in front of you, the 4-9 and the 5-9.
all right, let's go with April 9th, 2024. Meeting minute. What is going on?
We're just talking.
All right, April 4th, meeting minutes. Let's go. Anything?
Motion to approve April 4th meeting minutes as drafted.
We have a motion. We have a second. Anything, as you guys look it over, is there anything that you need to change? Anything you don't agree with?
April 4th, April 9th.
April 9th, meeting minute, 2024.
I made a motion to approve the April 4th one.
Oh, that's your fault.
Amend my motion to approve the April 9th one.
So proper. April 9th, meeting minute. Anybody? Anything?
I'll make a motion.
For what? We already have a motion. We have a second. All right, let's call the roll.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, yes.
Mayini, yes.
Westland, yes.
Oh, yes.
April 9th, meeting minutes are approved.
I'll make a motion to
May 9th, meeting minutes.
May 9th meeting minutes as drafted.
Excellent. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Leon, good job. Proud of you. Anything? Anyone? Anything? Call the roll.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, yes.
Mayini, yes.
Westland, yes.
Oh, yes.
Well done, guys. So Let's talk about number 2, zoning matters.
So the first item is the appointment of Thomas Nunes as a zoning enforcement officer. The charter says that he's appointed by the first selectman, which is what we've been going forward with because we have the paperwork. However, we recently looked at zoning regs and the zoning reg says it has to be appointed by the planning and zoning commission. So we're going to do both. So we request that the planning and zoning commission appoint Thomas Noonan as the zoning enforcement officer for the town of Monroe.
Are we doing this tonight?
If you could.
Make the motion to appoint Thomas Newman as
It's Noonan.
CEO of the town of Monroe.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. Anybody want to talk about it? Awesome. Call the roll.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, yes.
Mayini, yes.
Westland, yes.
Lupo, yes.
5-0. Noonan is in.
Thank you very, very much.
Take down those flags. Feather signs. down.
Okay, we'll talk to him when he comes in next.
He is going to be here for the July meeting.
That's
So make your list of comments for him.
All right.
In attendance.
90-day extension for the for 2023-04 127 Main Street.
Yeah, so
Kathleen, you want to talk us through that?
this is the subdivision for 127 Main Street, which if you remember, it was the subdivision that was done because of the regulations required for the septic system. They are still working through that, which is very understandable. So prior to filing that map to be recorded, they do need to have all of the health department items worked through. So they are asking for an additional 90 days to submit the plans for endorsement.
Are you in favor of this?
Yes.
Can I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the 90-day extension to SUB 2023-04-127 Main Street.
We have a motion.
Second.
We have a second. You guys want to talk about it? All right, call the roll.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, yes.
Mayini, yes.
Westland, yes.
Lupo, yes.
Right, it's approved. You got 90 days. Kathleen, you want to walk us through SCP 2023-10215 Monroe Turnpike?
Sorry, 215 Monroe Turnpike is the O'Reilly Auto Parts. They are requesting an additional 90 days for their endorsement of their final plans due to site modifications that's required by the Connecticut Department of Transportation encroachment permit process and Eversource review and approvals.
You in favor of that?
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for the 90-day extension of SCP 2023-10215 Monroe Turnpike.
I have a motion.
Second.
I have 2 seconds.
Who's the second of record?
Nicole.
Here.
She beat him to the buzzer. You guys want to talk about it? All right, let's go.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, yes.
Mayini, yes.
Westland, yes.
Lupo, yes.
And we've got a extension. All right, we have a bond release 395 Monroe Turnpike for $24,000. Kathleen, would you like to talk to us about it?
395 Monroe Turnpike is Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts is open and operating. They have a certificate of occupancy. However, they had a couple outstanding items for the landscaping that had to be done and complete. I have both gone out to visit the site and they have a certified letter from a licensed landscape architect stating that the installation of the plantings are done in accordance with the approved plans. So they are now requesting the release of a $24,000 bond.
And no, go ahead. I just want to know if you're in favor of it.
I have reviewed the approved plans and they have constructed them in accordance with the approved plans.
Then there you go. That's good enough for me. What do you want to talk about?
The screening on the corner, is that what was on the plan, the adequate screening?
Yes, so that was brought to my attention by Commissioner Smirgalino as well. I did go back, I reviewed the conditions of the approval. I reviewed the approved endorsed set of plans by the commission and it's in compliance with what the plans were there. I realize that may have been a conversation with the commission. Unfortunately, I can find no record of having those plantings.
It was also
being done.
before Kathleen's time.
Yeah, because we had concerns about the screening with the headlights coming up.
That's what has been expressed to me.
It's in a public hearing.
Correct, but if it's not, if you didn't vote, you can talk about anything during the public hearing, but if you don't actually have it as a condition of the approval in the recorded resolution, I have nothing to enforce it.
It was before Kathleen's time.
I'm telling you,
The record shows that that was supposed to be.
it was the conversation record, not the physical record.
So what I will say, and in the lesson for us all collectively is that, this was one of the reasons I have asked, for us to draft as many resolutions as possible before you vote on it. So you have the opportunity to review the conditions of approval. It's also why I like to make sure if we don't do that, we state very, very clearly what all of those are. So in hopes that we will potentially, hopefully avoid this in the future.
Okay. I need a motion.
I'll make a motion to release the bond for 395 Monroe Turnpike.
I have a motion. I need a second.
Second.
Oh, nobody wants to jump at it because you guys tied on it last time. All right, we got a second. Call roll.
Condon, yes.
Rosie, yes.
Laney, yes.
Westland, yes.
Lupo, yes.
It's kind of.
We, for correspondence, have the
I'm gonna,
record, or do we want to?
I think we should have her talk.
Yeah, I think that's appropriate. So I would just ask that the commission makes a vote to add a second public participation item to this portion of the agenda.
It doesn't count as correspondence? If she submits whatever's in her hand to
Can
you?
you just,
You have correspondence in your hand?
oh,
Yeah, and she wants to read it into the record and then
can I have a motion for a second public hearing?
make a motion
public participation?
to add a second portion of public
All
participation.
right, I have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Well done. All right, let's give me a vote on this.
Condon, yes.
Ambrosi, yes.
Laney, yes.
Westland, yes.
Lupo, yes.
All right, we got a second public participation. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to talk about something that's not on the agenda
Or online.
or online?
That's true.
It's like old time sitting here going through a whole plan. And I apologize.
Even though we know who you are, just name and record for the.
Patty Lindstrom, 298 King Road, and I'm sorry, you must start right on time, because when I got here, I missed it. Anyway,
I run a tight ship, Kat.
yeah, I guess so. So
I'm kidding.
real fast. real
Kidding.
fast. So now that.
I'm so sorry. Can you make sure you're talking into the
Oh, I'm
microphone?
sorry.
And I can help adjust.
Can we help her?
You need my name again?
Yeah, just in case.
Whatever. Okay, it's Patty Lindstrom, 298 King Road.
Thank you, Kat. What's up?
So now that the Inland Wetlands Commission has a new zoning enforcement officer, recently hired, and that the VEO, zoning enforcement officer, should theoretically have more time to spend on compliance issues. I just have a few questions.
Fire.
Has he been submitting regular action status reports that we used to get when I was on planning and zoning?
Well, he just started, so
Technically, we just appointed him.
we just appointed him.
Yes, he's been there a few months, but.
I tried.
So the answer probably is you have not been getting.
Well, that's not true. He did.
He has come.
Yeah.
He has
He's
come, he
given
did.
oral reports. He has come, and I think he gave you guys a copy of it. He's not doing it for every meeting at the moment. He's doing it for, whenever he comes to do intent. So he'll be at the July meeting, which he'll do a report at that time.
If I wanted a copy of that report, can I get it?
Sure.
For the public, for sure.
Have you, or has anyone, either staff or the commission, investigated how our zoning compliance policies and procedures compares with other towns?
Say more. About what's your concern, and is it, you're talking about step-by-step procedures, or you're talking about our regulations, the way we interpret things?
The procedure that would be necessary to follow so that the zoning enforcement officer could follow up on a complaint. So for example, if the zoning enforcement officer himself, Mr. Noonan, sees a violation, can he simply act on it?
So the way our current policy is that we do not patrol the town because that feels unfair and uneven, that let's say his drive to work, is when he's going to see the most, items. So if you happen to be in his drive, you're going to be the one that's going to get hit with the violations. However, health, safety, and welfare will always rise to the top. If anybody, any staff member, including him or somebody else, sees something that's a safety violation. So, for example, the sight line at an intersection is a fence is being put in there. He will absolutely follow up on that, even though there hasn't been a formal complaint. The majority of where we spend our time are formal complaints, because that is obviously what's impacting our residents the most and where we spend our efforts.
So my concern, and this is why I kind of mention all of this, and I'll get out of here, you guys can go home, is that because of the way the complaints are handled in Monroe, unlike in some other towns, because I have done some preliminary research, and not every town requires that a complaint be filed with a name on it. So somebody can file something anonymously, because you don't want neighbors mad at you. You don't want somebody throwing rocks at your window. You don't want somebody saying, gee, that person, it's just a real pain in the ass. Pain in the neck because she is, seeing something that is a violation and, nothing's happening. So therefore, it's creating a lot of ill will. So that's my concern. There are many, you've seen them all, many violations, landscaping, lighting, signs, banners, RVs, boats, pick one. We've seen them all over town, and they proliferate because, his boat's there, why not my boat? And so until or unless there is a change in the policy and procedures where someone can feel relatively safe in saying, hey, my neighbor put a boat there, shouldn't be there, it inhibits residents from filing complaints. That's it.
Is this something we can discuss in subcommittee?
I think it's something we can discuss in the subcommittee. It's the policy that we've inherited. Just because we've inherited doesn't mean it's the right way to do it. So that is something that we can review. However, I do believe that there are some other people in town hall that agree with this policy, or at least at the moment don't disagree to it. So I think it's something we can review holistically, but it's not just specifically planning and zoning. We collectively as a
Kath, we'll talk about it at subcommittee, and we'll give Kathleen some ideas, and she could discuss some of that stuff with.
There was one fabric garage. Okay, well then, next time, the neighbor said, I'll put up one. Now there were four. Right next to each other, that because somebody didn't say, that doesn't belong here. So anyway, that's my concern. It impacts all of us. And
Absolutely.
so I'm sorry to be such a pain.
You're not being a pain at all.
But other towns do things differently, and so it's worth maybe just finding out. Thank you so much, and I appreciate the opportunity to.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks for coming in.
You too.
I will tell you that even with the anonymous complaint policy, he receives a tremendous amount of complaints. He currently receives a tremendous amount of complaints. And at the moment, just so you know, I've done a really excellent job with the way that he's handling them. And I think
He's probably inundated.
he's very inundated, but obviously we'll do that. But however, complaint wise, now that we do, to Kathy's point, now that we do have a wetland enforcement officer, the wetland enforcement officer is taking the wetlands complaints. So that is taking, some of that work off of his plate. The intention for us is just that it allows him to respond to the complaints that he's getting, hopefully in a more timely manner, because it's been hard because he has been so inundated. But we will absolutely take this in consideration. It's something we can talk about in subcommittee, and then we can talk about it holistically as a town.
Awesome. Commission reports, chairman reports. Mike's not here, so there's no report. Any commissioners have anything?
Yeah, I got a question, Kathleen.
Leon has a question for you, Kath.
Absolutely.
Fire there, big boy.
So you're saying that if a planning and zoning commissioner puts in or talks about if a resident or a taxpayer of town of Monroe says that something's not right, and I called you the other day and you said that even, especially if it comes from a commissioner, we're not going to act on it. What does that mean?
I had said our policy is that we do not allow anonymous complaints. And you said, well, what if it comes from a commissioner?
You
And I said,
they won't act on that either.
no, we definitely will not take, just because you're a commissioner doesn't mean you get the favoritism of being able to submit an anonymous complaint. You even more need to make sure that you're following with whatever town procedure is. If I'm holding a resident to that standard, I'm also going to hold all the commissioners to that standard. And that did recently just happen.
Wait a minute. We are residents, and on top of it all, we're elected by the taxpayers of town Monroe, planning and zoning commissioners.
Correct.
There's a zoning violation out there. This commission has the right to look at a zoning violation. It has a right to complain about a zoning violation.
On the record.
But not enough.
Definitely on the record. I mean,
What? Yeah.
if you see, but I mean, I could put my name and say, listen, it came from me. I'm.
Well, yeah, we could go on, it's online, right? We could go online and
It's a form. You still have.
we could fill out the. form.
Yeah,
We can fill that out still.
100%.
We don't get
So
special.
would you rather have?
No, I'm not saying we
Would you
do.
rather have
We
us
shouldn't.
bring the violations to a public hearing?
No, you just have to fill out the form. You just can't call me and anonymously say, can you look into this? You still have to fill out the form, because what we do honor,
667, my number.
what we do honor
What I'm
is.
saying is, it's really not a violation. Well, it's it wasn't a violation. It was, they're doing something that they don't have a state permit for. When I called you.
If we're talking about, I think we're talking about, I did follow up with
I
that.
understand that, but I'm saying to you, that's not really a violation. It's something that they're working there where they don't have the proper paperwork to do it, and that shouldn't happen.
And I did follow up with those items.
But that's not what came across me that, we're not going to go
I
into
think
that.
Leon's asking, is it okay to, in that situation, is it okay to be off the record asking you for?
We're talking about two
Why-
different things.
Well, no, I'm not talking about two different things. I'm talking about that if there's a violation in the town or like a wetland violation, okay, it's a totally different thing than just somebody putting a boat in their thing or something like that. If it's creating problems with the wetlands, I don't know where that you say that a commissioner or a commissioner on wetlands or a planning and zoning commissioner can't have an issue with that.
No, she didn't say that at all. You just
But no,
have to
she's
fill out the
saying-
form. You just gotta fill out the
I understand that,
form.
But I'm saying is that, no, but that's not what was brought
That's
forward.
what she just said.
It says even if
Because
it's
you guys
planning and
are
zoning.
right, I'm happy to speak on this matter.
No, you said to me, if a planning and zoning, especially if a planning and zoning commissioner puts it in, we're not gonna act on it. That's I got out of the whole conversation.
And I'm happy to clarify that.
Well, now you're clarifying it, but, if I have to put a complaint in, I could put a complaint in. It's not a problem because I'm a commissioner. It does not that I'm a resident. I'm a resident too of the town. But if somebody complains about something that's probably not getting done in that office, what other things do you think that they have, what avenues they have, but to come to somebody that's on the planning and zoning commission?
I completely agree with you.
Right, because a lot of times stuff ends up in the office and like what she's saying, it doesn't go any further because for some reason it doesn't get taken care of. And then they reach out to a commissioner or whatever. I mean, if we have to bring it in front of a public meeting, which I don't think we should have to.
I agree.
And if a commissioner is going to question it, I don't think that we should have to. I think the lead, the CEO works for the commission under the state statutes, I would imagine. I mean, he's a town employee, but the CEO enforces the regulations of this commission.
I agree. I'm happy to speak on the matter.
Kathleen, you're up.
Beautiful. We are talking about several different things. I think we're using some of the words a little interchangeably. When we talk about a violation, we're talking about an actual violation in relationship to the zoning regs. Our current policy now is we don't just issue a violation. We always offer for voluntary compliance. We always give people the opportunity because honestly, more than 50% of the time, they just didn't know. They didn't know they were in violation of the regulation. So we always give them that opportunity. However, if they want to come to us and say, well, how'd you even know about this? You can't even see this from the street or whatnot. We always make people file a formal complaint. Commissioners, residents, anybody who wants to file a formal complaint can. You have put in anonymous complaints, including Fan Hill Road with a wetland violation. And because it rose to the level of health, safety, and welfare, we did absolutely follow up with them, issue a letter of voluntary compliance, and I've had my entire staff working on that very diligently. It just got resolved. There was an update at the last wetland, meeting. And because even though you put it in as an anonymous complaint, we still followed up with it because it did rise to the level of health, safety, and welfare. However, if you put in a complaint for a violation in another manner that doesn't necessarily rise to the level of health, safety, and welfare, we do ask that to be formal complaints that are on the record. We just ask you to fill out the form. If anybody has a health, safety, welfare issue, we will always deal with it. If you are wanting to follow up on, is the permitting process, correct for the establishment that we're talking about? I absolutely reached out to both the owner and the business official and asked them to follow up and had them put an email on the record of what was happening at that time, gave them a warning that they couldn't follow through with that. You stated that something was happening again. It's really hard because you heard through somebody else that this was happening. So it's a lot of he said. So I am being told that they put in all of their application items, for that item. We'll continue to follow up with them. I absolutely have no problem following up on, no violation complaints. That doesn't necessarily mean you need to put it on the record when it has to do with permitting items, but I do believe that we have responded to every single one of your calls in a timely manner. But I'm happy to discuss if you feel like there's been any issues that we haven't really talked about, and responded and reached out to them in a timely manner.
No, it's not, it doesn't come down to, it's not that. I mean, there's other business people in town that when they see something going on, and that's where it comes from. It comes from the rest of the business people that went through the whole process, not mine, but went through the whole process to do everything. And then they see something going on and they say, why is that going on? And they know they don't have a state permit. They know they don't have their license yet. None of that's been done. None has been filed in the town hall. And yet they're working there at night, selling used cars, and they like, why is that going on? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I said, it shouldn't be going on. I said, because we talked about it before, because I told you they were doing that, and they shut it down for a little while, but then they started up at night. And that's what I was bringing forward to you.
Absolutely.
I think also, if I'm hearing Leon right, like during an election process, people go in there, they elect us to be, to take care of these zoning matters and vote on them and whatnot. So they go to us. Inherently, they'll go to us and say, listen, can you look into this? I don't understand that, this, that, and the other thing. We feel an obligation to get to the bottom of it or to help them along. So to come in here and bring it up and basically I'm being told or hearing that this isn't really being heard in a formal manner. We've got to just go down the hallway and fill out an actual form and put in a complaint as a normal citizen would, where I feel like that's just more red tape in the system to try to possibly not get it done.
That just then has to be a formal agreement upon the commission that residents can file anonymous, that residents can put in an anonymous complaint as long as they go through a commissioner. Do you know what I'm saying?
I think it makes more sense to look into just actually having a formal anonymous complaint option.
Which is what Kathy was asking.
Kathy brought, which would solve this whole
General.
situation, but technically right now, as it is on paper, Leon, you bringing up an issue, it makes sense, but as you said, those businesses, really, they should have put in a formal complaint.
Oh, but they elected.
They elected.
They're not
In
involved.
their mind, no, I know, but having that conversation saying it's gotta be formal, right now on paper, it has to be formal and they should do that because what's to prevent the entire town now to be like, well, okay, we'll just go through the commissioners and everything will be anonymous, and then that could get weaponized. That's the fear of the anonymous part.
I got the anonymous part of it for people, the residents and everything like that. But if you sit on this commission and somebody and all you're doing is asking a question or look into this.
It's just a loophole for every resident.
I'm saying, as a commissioners or as commissioners here, everybody has questions and people reach out and constituents reach out to you and say, listen, what's going on here? What's going on here? What's going on? And you call up and say, listen, what's going on here? Or what's going on? Well, we're not going to act on that. Or we're not going to act on a complaint, or we're not going to look into it. Just look into it. I mean, we are the commission for these people elected us as the commissioners to take care of our town. And if there is a violation, then if it comes from us, I think that should be taken care of before anything, because, it's just looked into it. I mean, and I don't see where's there a policy that says that it has to be a formal complaint. Where's that policy at that we have written?
But I think, hold on a second.
Do we have a written policy for that?
would like to discuss this at subcommittee. I do not want to point fingers in
Okay.
a formal setting, but I
Well,
have been
that's-
instructed that we do not take anonymous.
I understand that maybe you don't want to get into it and get into being instructed, but I've already reached out to a few people to find out where the policy is for this, which I don't think there is one. I think that's just a blank policy that we do. But on the other hand and they haven't got back to me, or they didn't get back to me, or they were going to discuss it, but I don't want to get too deep into that. And like you said, maybe the subcommittee is the best place for it. And I'm not putting, like I'm saying, but I'm saying to you is that, like Mr. Weston says, people call all the time. And if there is something that is wrong, or it may not be nothing, and it's easier just to put it under the table. and
Most of
say
the
to
time
that
we manage these
person-
problems without bringing them in.
What's that?
Most of the time we can handle these
Problems
problems.
without bringing them here. What I'm saying to you is like, if you reach out to the zoning enforcement, says, well, is this what's going on here? And if he says this or this or that, and then gets back to the commissioner, he calls the person or the person, the constituent that called him and said, listen, that's nothing we can do about it. That's normal. That's the way it is. Then you end all of it. But if
No,
there is
I'm
something-
just concerned because we're a board that is elected to do what we do in the public,
Right.
on the public eye, and you use the term under the table. I mean,
Not under the table. It's
that's
not
what
under
you,
the
that's
table.
what you said.
It's
though.
not really under
And
the
I
table.
mean, that's the problem when it's a phone call here
Without
or
bringing,
this.
without
It's better to
bringing,
do it here.
without bringing a formal complaint into saying, listen, I want to write this formal complaint and I want you to go out and investigate. And then it turns out to be nothing.
I have a
I
question.
mean, I don't know. I think we'll do it in
I have a-
subcommittee. I think that's better off.
I have a question. I get a million complaints,
Right.
just like everyone else here. Somebody's out there. And I'll be honest with you, when I'm at the cigar lounge, I fear that I'm gonna sit there and enjoy myself and someone's gonna sit next to me and be like, oh, planning and zoning commissioner. And I'm like, I think there's a problem. I think it could be handled so simply. Hey, you have an issue with XYZ Street? No problem. Here's what you do. Call the zoning enforcement officer. He'll tell you exactly how to deal with that.
Yeah, that's what I do, or
I see.
come to the public hearing.
The problem is if you start taking it and then you want to be Superman, flying off these buildings and then cutting everybody off, that doesn't work either. It's a simple thing. It's a simple thing. Hey, Rob, yeah, I hear your concern. Simply call the zoning enforcement officer. They have a way to handle this and you can just talk to them about it.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you right now, if you do that, a lot of times that phone call is not even made.
Well,
Because most of the time they're talking to you, I'm not saying all, most of the times they're talking to you, it's over nothing.
Well, that's the people you're talking to.
Right. I talk to the nothings.
but like I say to you too, is that some people have put complaints in, okay, and they haven't went.
Exactly. So then what you say to them
And
is,
they come
do
and they
your
talk to, they come and they say, I can't get anywhere in town hall or
Right.
anywhere with the
so
staff.
if it gets that
And so then
far,
it's brought to, it has to be brought to, the only person that could be brought to is this commissioner.
but that's so few and far in between.
But I'm saying, no, it's not few and far.
Sounds like you're giving unfair access to friends.
That's what it's,
That's
that's few and
not-
far in between.
That's not what it sounds, that's not what it is. It has
It's few and
nothing-
What if somebody complains to you about some perceived zoning violation on one of your properties?
I understand that.
You
Then I'll
then
handle
call
it.
and
Well,
report it?
no, then I handle it. But I'm saying to you is, that's not even what it was about. This was what you're getting, and you're jumping into something that you don't even know about what it was about.
Well,
And I'm
because it
telling you-
wasn't brought up in the public. It's
That's
happening. I have
exactly
no
right.
idea what it's
Brought
about.
up to her that the guy is working without a permit. That's a thing that shouldn't happen.
That, I feel like there's the part on the agenda
And
where
then
it
you
says
jump in like you don't
commissioner
even know.
report.
I don't even know why you're even in the conversation.
I feel like commissioner report is when you would have brought that up. You said, hey,
I
this is
asked,
happening.
I
What's
asked
going on?
her about why she said to me, especially if it comes from a commissioner, we won't act on it. And she said she didn't mean it that way. So we'll take care of it another way. That's fine. But don't be like just saying to me that you don't know the whole thing. You know what I mean?
And
And
that's
it's not only one business owner,
That's-
it's probably about 6 business owners that had a problem.
Right, but then I pose this question to you. If 6 people are making the same complaint and the town didn't do anything about it, that sounds kind of weird to me.
No, not 6
Yeah.
people were.
Say the
It's not even that. It wasn't 6 people made an complaint. They're saying that the
Just
business
said
is being run. No, they're saying that the business is being run that doesn't have a state permit or a license.
And they're calling you instead of the town.
They see Leon as the town.
Right, and then
So that's- and
what I'm saying is that's not the right way. That
Correct.
Leon is not the town. You're not the
I'm not-
town. I'm not the town.
Shouldn't that be being reported to the state?
Exactly. We are not the town.
I guess.
But what they need, what he needs to do, and what we need to do as a commission is refer to.
Week in red tape.
Ugh.
And the issue that we.
Has nothing to do with
Everybody wants to be a hero, I guess.
Is a business owner, went to the commissioner, who then came to me, who then went to the CEO, who then went to the owner, who then went to the business person. And then they had all these questions and we didn't have like, you know, facts and stuff, you know, in our hands. We had some emails go back and forth, but it was just a lot of like telephone. And so when they responded back saying, they're not doing it, or their application was in process, they were just doing some personal things. I'm getting told they did this. They're telling me they did not do this, and we're just having a hard time, you know, matching the two. So I will tell you that we will follow up again for a third time, if we still think that this is an issue. And I apologize if you thought that my comment was that you as a commissioner, I was absolutely not going to follow up on it. What I was stating is that I had asked you put in a formal complaint. You had said you were commissioner and that you thought it could be followed through. And I said specifically, even more commissioners need to make sure that they're following the rules and the procedures which we have in place, which is that we'd like to file formal complaints when we are looking into potential violations. But we will look into it again, because I do agree with you that they should not be operating without a permit. That's not even just a violation. That's just them, you know, not complying with the approvals of this commission, and it should absolutely continue to be followed through.
Excellent. We have anything from land use?
Hold on, my computer is asleep.
Oh my.
We only have, as I mentioned, one meeting in July, one meeting in August, so July 18th and August 1st. Please just take a look at your schedules. If you feel like you can't make it, please let me know. I just want to make sure we have quorum. And if there's any reason that we don't, that we can adjust accordingly and give applicants plenty of time to know, and even potentially reschedule if we feel like that is appropriate. The planning and zoning regulations are updated with all the amendments from 2021. So I pulled every single regulation approval that this commission has done for the last 3 years to make sure that everything was in there, not just in there, but in there exactly how it was approved. And we do have updated zoning regs. So as we now can start to go back into, I believe that is a very long list of zoning regulations that you've all started to look at. It was really, really difficult for me to look at that compared with our regulations, because the regulations were missing so many different pieces of information. So a huge, huge, huge thank you to everybody in staff, because I had a million people double check all of my work, who really put in the effort, and we basically spent a whole week doing this because it was important. And the last item is I would love to schedule subcommittee. We've been getting some requests of it, and I would like to get back into some of the regulations. The last subcommittee was only attended by 2 people. So technically it wasn't even a meeting. We were still able to go through because the applicants had agreed to it. But we want to make sure that we're picking a date that is appropriate for everyone to attend.
What day are you thinking?
I mean, we've been normally doing it Mondays. Does that work?
Yep.
Yep.
Yes.
And we've been doing it.
Not the first.
Correct.
um,
We have
I have a meeting.
No, we don't.
Not you.
Subcommittee of RTC.
Oh, look at you guys.
Yeah.
These meetings I don't even know about.
It's amazing. It's amazing how we get shit done, stuff done.
We could do it on the 8th. The planning and zoning meeting isn't until the 18th, the next week, so hopefully it's not too big of a burden to have to do.
July 8th?
We're
July.
meeting at 7. If we meet at 5:30, it's not gonna be enough time.
So, and also, yeah, we say the time is 5:30. Do you want that time to be different?
5:30 stinks for me.
You'll send us all that stuff ahead of time?
Yeah, I'll send you an email.
What time, what are you thinking, earlier or later?
I'd rather do later,
Later one.
like 6:30.
6 will work for me too, because
5:30 is tough.
tough for me.
No, or is someone gonna push up
For me. How about you, Rob? 6? Good?
I don't really care, you know?
Meeting at the.
6.
Yeah,
Is that what you mean? by-
Yeah.
Have to rush.
I know some meet, sometimes someone's coming in at 7 and we get pushed out.
Oh, that's a really great question. Let's tentatively say July eighth,
Oh.
I will make sure it's there. If not, we could even maybe, because you guys aren't like a huge thing, we could maybe go to 2:04 if we needed to.
Right.
And then we're thinking 6:00.
Yeah.
Let me take a look at that. Beautiful.
July 8th, you said?
And can you add,
Tentatively, yeah.
Mike added me to that officially? Can I get added to the emails for that and stuff?
Yeah, there hasn't been a ton of
Okay.
emails for it, but I need to send out, yeah, right.
Dude, I can't hear when you talk in a normal voice and then you're gonna whisper something to me? You think I'm gonna, I'll be honest with you, you think I'm gonna hear it? All right, July 8th, 6:00, subcommittee. I'll make can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting, please?
You don't need a motion as long as you adjourn it, but the chairman can.
Really?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
We got a motion, we got a second.
We got it.
8:34.
Who's the second?
Me on.
Leon, he's always in a rush to get up. 8:34.